and welcome back to Ina Knits. I have a special episode for you today. I wanted to share my status of the UFOs and WIPs. If you're not familiar with the term, UFO stands for unfinished objects and WIPs are works in progress. And I'm not quite sure when a WIP becomes a UFO, but I consider my WIPs something that is more active. A knitting project that I'm on and off knitting on. A UFO is basically a project that has been laying untouched for a longer period of time. I started off 2024 with a planner, a knitting planner, and I've just basically chosen a basic notebook, and I dedicated 2 whole pages to my UFOs. I took everything out from drawers and from shelves and baskets and really went through everything and made an inventory list basically. I have already started tackling 2 WIPs. I would consider those WIPs because I started the project not too long ago. So I started to tackle 2 WIPs already. They were started in late fall, both of them, and they are now finished. So I will not show you these 2, but other than that, I am counting 18 WIPs and UFOs in total. And yeah, I would say that I did an episode quite like this. I think it might be a couple of years back, and at least 2 or 3 or maybe more. Yeah, but at least 2 or 3 of these UFOs were in that episode, and that's quite bad, I think. So it's really time to just go through everything, and I want to now decide whether I'm going on with this knitting project and plan to complete it within this year, or whether I will rip it out and frog it basically. So that's today's plan. I will not go through this in any particular order, but I just grabbed my pretty little Ghana basket. I'm going to show you what's in it. And there are 2 pairs of socks in here. I have this beautiful fall-like sock. I call them my Saba ball fall socks because it's made out of a pretty ball of crazy Saba ball, paired with contrasting brown in Filcolana Arbetta. And this is the current status on sock number 2. And I think the reason why these have been laying in the basket since October, November-ish is that the color is pretty dark, so it's a little bit tricky for me to knit on them unless the lighting is crisp and bright. But I really enjoy knitting with Crazy Saba Ball, and I definitely want to complete this pair of socks, so they are staying for sure. The next pair of socks in this basket is made out of self-striping yarn, and here is the yarn I think the yarn dyer is Biscotti Yarns, a Canadian brand. I originally intended for a pair of ankle socks, like shorties, but I didn't enjoy them when they were finished. There's something about the yarn, it's very dead. It's not springy, it's very hard and yeah, doesn't have any flexibility to it, if you know what I mean. So I ripped back the shorty socks and decided to go for full-length socks instead, and that's what I have started right here. So this is basically the cuff of sock number 1, and I don't know, for some reason this speaks summer to me, so I'm not very inspired to knit on these right now. So I will probably keep them in my basket, and if I feel like it, every now and then I could do a couple of rounds, but they will most likely not be finished until spring, summertime is my guess. But they are staying. I like self-striping socks. I find them fun to knit up. And this banana leaf basket is another project. It's an older project for sure, and I guess you have seen this if you've been here before, because this is the Mitered Square blanket for my son. And it is pretty huge because it's basically finished. So I have knitted mitered squares, and I just made a border around each square, and I have used a lot of thinner sock yarn, like mainly fingering weight sock yarn, and some squares are even made out of sport weight yarn, but yeah, the border is out of fingering weight yarn, Norwegian sock yarn. It's the sisu from Sonnes Garn. And yeah, I completed this during the summer of 2023. It's been going for at least 3 years. I haven't gone back and looked at when I actually casted it on. But what is remaining? Because of the construction of the mitered square, you get this black border on 2 of the sides, all naturally. And I now need to complete the border around the 2 sides where the border is lacking. And I have been kind of debating how I was going to do this, but I think I have it pretty well figured out in my head. I started off with a little test border down here, so I basically just have to complete it. And I think that I put it away at some point because I was out of the charcoal grey color, but now I have it back in my stash, so there's really no reason why I can't complete it. Yeah, so this is staying, of course. It's for my 10-year-old son, and he has been waiting a long time for it to finish, so yeah, it's time to do so. Right beside me here is another beautiful, no, not another, it's a beautiful bag. It's a project bag from by the lakeside. I bought this from her at Vogue Knitting Live in 2019. So pretty. And inside this project bag is a project that I have been wanting for a very long time. I think this is my third attempt knitting one of these. But I'm still not like super happy about how it turns out. I mean, it's beautiful, but I don't know if it's just boring to knit it or if I'm a little bit anxious about how it's going to turn out in the end. I don't know. But for some reason or the other, it's just been... It hasn't gotten the attention it deserves for several months. So this is the Damejakka Loppa. It's a design by Pinneguri or Myhre, which is her name. It's really pretty. And when I look at it like this, I can't believe that I haven't finished it. Really. It's very scrunched up now after being in a bag for such a long time. But it's a pretty dark bottle green. And I've just used a lot of scraps for the patterning on the rounded yoke. And I use a very pale pink for the pattern down the jacket itself. So I'm pretty far down on arm number 1. I think I decided at some point to finish off the arms first and then do the body, just to ensure that I would be able to finish the jacket. But I haven't. So that's a bummer. But of course it's not too late. I think that this is a keeper. Just because I have been wanting it for so long and I don't dislike the colors. I might even end up loving the colors and the jacket when it's finished. So I think I should keep it and give it another year to try and complete it. And if I haven't completed it by New Year's next time, it's definitely something I'm going to rip out, because yeah, then it's a lost project, I guess. What do you think? Please let me know if you have any feedback on my decision process for these garments. Something is easy just to... If I've fallen totally out of love for a project, it's easy for me to rip it out. But sometimes it's very twofold, you know, when I can like some parts of it, but I don't like all of it. And then it's of course harder to decide the destiny of a project. Yeah. But anyway, I will keep it for now and give it some more time, and yeah, hopefully I will be able to finish it by this year. And I have noticed already that putting up a list like this and like see it visually in front of me gives me so much motivation to start and tackle my WIPs and UFOs. I don't know. It's probably easier for me to now see that I have a lot of like low-hanging fruits, in the meaning that if I just put in a little bit effort, a little bit of time, I can easily finish this in a couple of days. So, and that is, of course, for me at least, very motivational. And I have in this way been able to complete a couple of projects pretty fast now. So that is so cool. And yeah, it gives me the steam to carry on. Right, I have another sweater. This was a sweater project that I saw a couple of beautiful versions of in other YouTube channels, and I just really wanted a sample for myself. It's a pretty leftover yarn project. And this is my version of it. It's on a cable that is way too small, so it looks very funny at the moment. And this is the Vulkan sweater by Inga Semmingsen. And yeah, the idea here is that you could just mix and match both yarn qualities and colors as you wish. So there's some fluffy yarn in here, and I have some sock yarn and some sport weight, DK weight, and yeah, it's a very fun project. And even this beautiful braid, which I'm very pleased about. But I don't know. I'm very unsure about this. I don't think that I like how it turned out. I think maybe I did a wrong decision knitting this braid in a bright color like this. It's predominantly orange, and the rest is brown, beige, and like this minty color. I really regret it. And frankly, even though I love a good scrappy leftover project, I don't think that this will become the sweater I wished for. And it will probably not be a sweater I'm going to wear. So I think this is sweater that's going to be ripped. Yeah, it is. And I want to dedicate my knitting time to something that makes me happy instead. So bye bye, beautiful braid and lovely sweater. Yeah. Another sweater. I talked about this sweater quite a lot in 2023. And it's my Farnham sweater, which is still not finished, unfortunately. And I stopped because I started working on one arm and it turned out absolutely massive. I mean, it's a very wide sweater, as you can see. So it's got a very boxy shape, and I like a good boxy shape. I think I will enjoy this sweater once it's finished a lot. But I think also that I like the arms to be a little bit more fitted. So what I'm going to do, I have to rip back the arm and pick up fewer stitches and re-knit it, basically. Which is really not much work at all. I am finished with the rest of it. I have finished both the collar, which is this pretty roll down color. Is that what you call it? And I have finished ribbing, the bottom ribbing with Italian bind off. Yeah. So because of the rather broad boxy model or like shape of this sweater, I don't actually think that the arms need to be very long, so it should be a quick finish actually. Just have to do it. I'm knitting this sweater in Cascade Heritage in this beautiful lavender lilac-y color, and the stripes are in a brown beige color. It is supposed to be striped throughout, but I have basically run out of the stripe color. I only had one skein of it, so I'm going for like plain one colored arms, which I think will be okay. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping this and completing it, hopefully in not too long. And I need to create a list and prioritize. So this will be pretty high up on my list because I want to be able to wear it while it's still winter and cold out. I have another sweater and this is a knit that I did during the early days of Corona, I believe. I'm pretty sure that I started this and maybe completed it during the fall of 2019. Yeah. But for some reason I haven't finished like woven in the ends, which is crazy. It's a Riddari so you can see that the seam under the arms, both sides, it's not finished. But I have finished knitting the whole sweater, so, and it's really pretty as well. So it's a taupe, beige, light brown color base, and I have a creamy white with 2 shades of green on the yoke. And yeah, so this is definitely a low-hanging fruit to finish. It's just to pick up a needle and do the work. Yeah. I guess the reason why I haven't done it before is that it has been tucked away in a cabinet and I found it just prior to moving. And when I moved this summer, it has been way too warm to work on. But yeah, I'm definitely going to complete it, like 100% complete it, and start wearing it. I have another cardigan that's been on the go for years. And if you have been following me for years too, you might recognize this. It is my Penguono. This is a pattern by Stephen West. Everybody and their grandmother knitted this when it first came out. I really wanted one for myself. I pretty quickly knitted almost all of it, and then I stopped because I didn't like the color combination. So I remember that a year ago, maybe two, ripped back these front panels. They were striped, pretty dark blue and creamy white, I believe. So I ripped those back and I re-knitted them in a much brighter color. It's even a very, very pale pink here. And I like this a lot better. And now it's really just to, I think you knit the, I believe it's the bottom part first. You pick up and knit a section down here all the way, and then I think that the last part is to pick up all the stitches up here all the way across the collar on the top and down on the other side. So the very last sections here are quite long. Yeah, and I believe I stopped because I was struggling to figure out which colors to pick out for the last sections. I don't think that I want to continue the dark colors as on the back. But at the same time, it might look a little bit funny if I only have the dark part on the back side and only bright on the front. So I'm not too sure. I actually, before I started taking out all of my old WIPs, I had a thought in my head that this is something that's going to be ripped for sure. I will never figure out a way to make this as I want it to become. But when I took it out of the project bag, I was like, this might work. I might still want that Penguono for myself. I think it's kind of cute, actually. So I've decided to keep this still. But as for the Damejakka Loppa, I'm giving myself this year to tackle it and to complete it. And if it's still in this state by January 2025, it's gotta go. Because I can't have a lot of these lying around and not like do something about it. I feel like it's been in hibernation for long enough now. So again, if you have any like suggestions, color-wise, I would appreciate your feedback a lot. Please leave a comment if you have an idea. I don't think that I don't want to rip back anymore, so I have to work with what I got so far. But any suggestions on what would look nice on the bottom and on the finishing color around the neck area and down is highly appreciated. Another Steven West project that's on my needles is leggings. These are the Marled Mania leggings. At the moment they're just a pair of hot pants or shorts. I really enjoyed this project, and I am so excited to have a pair of knitted leggings or trousers, really. They are super fun to knit. I am using up a lot of thin alpaca from Pickles. This is a fingering weight alpaca held together with lots and lots of minis that's in my stash. I have a whole bag of lovely minis in here. And yeah, so I'm knitting with 2 strands, one alpaca, beige alpaca, and one fingering weight leftover scrappy yarn. And I really love the scrappy look of this project. I think it's so beautiful. So this is definitely a keeper. And as for the Farnham sweater, it would be so lovely to complete it in January or February. Because I'm really looking forward to start wearing it, basically. Yeah, it's a keeper. Right, for some months ago I had an idea in my head to crochet a new blanket. And I wanted to see how it looked with a thicker hook. This is a 10mm hook, which is a US 15. N hook. And I have knitted the start of a blanket. And in this blanket is some drops silk brushed alpaca, and I have some wool yarn. I believe this might be fingerless. And I have a strand of sock yarn, like indie dyed sock yarn, and 1 strand of thin cotton. So I'm working with 4 strands at the same time, and it is creating a very fluffy and airy fabric. I'm not sure if I'm going to complete it, and basically that's all about that. I'm not sure if I have enough yarn to be able to make a full blanket, and I'm not interested in buying yarn for this project either. On the other hand, to rip back a project with 4 different strands of both fluffy yarn and wool yarn, and I think it will be a nightmare. So I'm not going to rip it out straight away. I might think to figure if I could use this for something else. Yeah, we will see. Maybe I could make a, like, cut it in 4 parts and make a cushion cover. I don't know. This is a 4 length width. So yeah, maybe. Or maybe I could cut it in 2 and make cowls. Still don't know. But we will see. It was a fun project, but as I said, I'm not sure if I have enough yarn to complete the whole thing the way I started off. So yeah, that's why it hasn't been any progress for a long time. I have another blanket project. And this has been with me for so long that I really can't remember when I started it. I suspect that it might be more than 5 years. And I think that it kicked off when I saw probably a blog with carpets or a blanket made out of squares like this. So it's basically a circle in the middle, and then it's crocheted with like corners, 4 corners to create a square. And I had quite a lot of this really fading along, what do you call it, when you have a yarn that shifts color, but it's got very long color shifts. I think this is an old Fable, Drops Fable. And I also had some Marks and Cattons. Yeah, so I have completed 4 of these squares. And then I have a bunch of circles that are ready to become squares. Oops. In all of these colors. And I don't know. I don't know where the pattern is. I have some more yarn. I even have a crochet needle here. But yeah, I need to do some research in order to be able to continue working on them. I think I will still keep them just in case I really just want to crochet on these again, but I'm really not sure if, and I don't have a plan to start tackling them anytime soon. But it doesn't take up much space. It's very, I don't know, limited, and yeah, it doesn't bother me to keep it like this for the time being. Right, now we are on to the very last basket. On the very top of the basket is this project, which would be my probably most recent one. These are the Christmas socks that I casted on yeah, just after Christmas in 2023. I got this beautiful yarn through an advent swap. It's a yarn from Hobby, and it's their Christmas socks collection. It's color number 3. So yeah, it's sparkly and it is a fun Christmas sock project. which I am definitely keeping. And we'll probably be knitting on these a little in between when I just feel like it. There's plenty of time to finish these for next December. Right, next project is in a project bag, which was gifted to me by my friend Daisy. Oh, I remember this project. So I really like competition. I have an instinct for competitions, and I'm not a bad loser, but I really enjoy the feeling of being in a contest. So every now and then, I don't know if you're familiar with Sock Madness, which is a contest that takes place on Ravelry every year. I think it starts around this time of the year. You can sign up, and then you basically get a pattern and you have to complete it to be eligible for passing through to the next round, and then you kind of stay in the competition and you have to knit it faster and faster and faster. And in the end, it's the final round where, you know, there's one winner in the end. I have never done well in that contest, and every time I have participated, I promise myself never to do it again, because oftentimes I don't like the pattern, I don't like the sock that I knit, and I never use them, and I end up throwing them away. And yeah, not an enjoyable knit for me. Neither was this year or last year's. I don't know, it's Intarsia in the round, which could be a good project. So I call this project my Balloon Girl sock. As you can see, there's a girl. She is holding her hand up to a bunch of balloons. And there's supposed to be embroidered some strings here to, like it's for to visualize her holding her balloons. And I even did sock number 2. I barely started the head of the Balloon Girl. It was really a huge effort to knit this, and I didn't even complete it. And I did something funny on the heel. I have no clue what I did, but just look at it. It looks absolutely strange, and it doesn't fit my heel at all. It's way too big. So these are definitely going to be ripped. I almost ripped them back like last week, but I hold back because I wanted to show you them first. They could have been beautiful. I mean, something about this is wonderful, but something is just ridiculous. And note to self, no sock madness this year. Here's another pair of socks. It is made out of Vandre from Hillesvåg. No, Vandre from Rauma. And I got this as a Christmas present from my son. Not this last Christmas, but the year before. And this is how they look. And I originally planned to knit him a pair of socks out of the yarn that I got from him. The problem is that it is very, very rustic, and it feels almost hard on my hands to knit with it, so I don't particularly enjoy knitting on these. So that's why I haven't made any progress in about a year. I will, however, try and complete the pair. I find it kind of fun to have a pair with red and blue stripes like this, and I will probably knit them a little bit larger than my own size, because that's his size at the moment. So I will offer him the pair, and if he doesn't like them or enjoys wearing them, I can use them myself instead. So it won't be any waste. Right, so that's that pair. And oh, we are getting close to the end. Yes, here is a pair of mittens actually. I got one pair of mittens, one pair of mitts, and two pairs of mittens, one mitt and one arm left. Okay. This is a mitten made out of pure wool. There are two strands in here, one like grey blue color and one petrol. So it's a very nice marling going on there. I have a very good recipe, a mitten recipe from Nøstebarn. It's a Norwegian book. I'm not sure if it's translated into English. But these mittens are supposed to be felted afterwards. So I knit them on 6mm needles. So it's a pretty loose gauge. And then I'm going to put them in the washer and felt them to create a very soft and fluffy and great. They're great mittens. I've knitted several of these in the past, and I had a period, a couple of years or something, that I had one pair on the go all the time. So I produced some mittens that way, and then I just stopped. So this is the mitten that I started 1.5 years back maybe. So, but it's very easy for me to just pick it up and continue the project. As yeah, they're super easy and fast to crank out basically. So these are the two colors. It's the bottom one is a kauni, and the upper one is Texrena, which is an Estonian yarn brand. And both of them are, no, it's Lithuanian actually. I think it's Lithuanian. Yeah. Anyway, both of them are fingering weight, like 100% untreated wool. So perfect for felting. Okay, then I have these, and I have lost the ball band, but I think that this is I have basically forgotten all about the information of this yarn, but it is self-striping. And I started these mittens with the intention of gifting them to Christian's youngest daughter. And I'm not sure why I stopped. Maybe because I didn't manage to complete them within Christmas that year. And now I'm frankly a little bit concerned that they might be too small for her. But I could ask her if they fit and if she is even interested in a mitten like this. And if the answer is yes, I could easily complete it. It's absolutely no trouble at all. This is a fast knit too. I don't remember the pattern. Maybe it's the world's simplest mitten by Tin Can Knits. Maybe? Not sure. And then I found deep stash. This is half a mitt. And it's out of pure natural alpaca from Town and Alpacas. And I know for sure that this yarn and the pattern was something I purchased at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in 2017. Crazy. Or was it 18? I'm pretty sure that it was 17. Yeah. Anyway, this is the pattern. Lacy fingerless mittens. And it's very soft. It's like basically buttery soft. So I do enjoy the yarn. However, not too keen on these mitts anymore. So I'm going to rip them out and I will repurpose the yarn and make something else with it. I got 2 balls of it. So yeah, and I believe it's about a DK weight. Yes, 111 meters per 50 gram DK weight. So that's that. And the very last project. And I'm sorry if the lighting is all over the place. It is midday, but it's a very gloomy weather out and a gloomy light. It's heavy clouds. So the lighting situation is a little bit difficult. I should probably use a ring light, but I forgot. I have started yet another Riddari. And I only have one arm. So this is a Riddari that I don't remember when I started it, but I have showed it on my podcast before. It is made out of a combination of this yarn, which is a brushed traditional wool yarn from the Faroe Islands. It's from Navia. And then I have paired it with Loppa, the Icelandic yarn, And the Let Loppi is slightly thicker than the, yeah, you can see through it basically. Look, you can see the light behind through the fabric. Yeah. I had an idea that this would work. I was gifted this Faroe yarn from my friend from the Faroe Islands, and it's a very special yarn. I really wanted to make something special with it, but I don't enjoy this color combination. And I don't think that I want a Riddari in this yarn. So I'm going to rip it back and yeah, see, I might need to browse online to see if there's something else I can use this special Faroe. It's very sheepy. You know, it's probably full of lanolin still because I get a little greasy knitting with it, and it's a very dry and rustic yarn, but at the same time it's I suspect there's still some oil in it. It's very cool. I like it. I like it. That was everything. It feels so good to share this with you and go through everything like this. I'm very happy that I decided to bring out my WIPs and my UFOs and make a list like this. I even started to mark out projects as I finish them. In that way it will be very motivational for me to see my progress as I keep on marking out finishes, and yeah, I will also of course mark out the things that I rip out. And yeah, that was what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you have a wonderful start to your new year and that you are taking some time to tackle your own UFOs and WIPs as well. Take good care. Happy knitting. Bye.